Lovely to see everybody here, and thank you to my esteemed panellists. We're not going to run through too much about what these guys do. I'm sure you guys know them all. But we are going to dive right into the nitty-gritty of AI, find out how it's being used, how it might be used, some of the implications of its use as well. Before we get started, I just wanted to do a quick straw poll. If you've used AI in your professional work, can you just put your hand up? Okay. So it's being implemented, so interesting stuff. As I said, yeah, 4 fantastic panellists here to get right into the depths of AI and how it might be used. We've been talking about AI, probably it's been in mainstream media for a while now, but the last couple of years it's really hotted up. Sami, I wanted to start with you because you've been doing it for a little bit longer. Talk to us a little bit about Largo and how you're using AI and how you have used AI for 6, 7, 8 years now.
Yeah, AI, as you mentioned, it became very popular last 1 year after the release of ChatGPT. But we are in the market almost 5 years, and we were telling AI will have a really significant role in entertainment industry 5 years ago, which ChatGPT helped a bit to prove that. But I mean, to mention a bit our focus, we analyze content. So there's 2 parts of AI, right? Predictive AI and generative AI. Where we are coming from originally was from predictive AI, so getting a content to the system and understand it. And we put this in 3 categories. We firstly position the content, so the AI generates some style patterns. It understands how drama is changing over the content, how comedy is changing. So these elements are helping to position the content firstly. Secondly, we provide insights about the characters and castings. AI is telling which actor will fit better to which character, for example. It gives the predictions on that. And finally, the audience part and financial forecast. So it predicts who is the audience, what's the size of the audience on streaming platforms, and this way actually that you can make us a risk assessment about the potential of the content.
Good stuff. So yeah, lots to dig into there. I'm just going to briefly run through each of you and just discuss how you're using it. Anna, Beta Film, you guys, how are you using AI at the moment, if at all?
Well, for us, especially in the content and GoPro unit, we are not using AI so far. When it comes in terms of marketing, creating pitch decks, something we tried. We tried Midjourney, and then, yeah, it is a task. It will evolve, no question. But for now, it takes us too much energy to prompt it right to get satisfying result. We are not analyzing content. We are reading by ourselves still, but we are open to it and we are following it. And when it comes to the creation of limited series or high-end series, of course, we're not using AI because then it's not about the what, it's more about the how it's done.
Okay. And Marjnan, with the work that you're doing, I mean, I don't think the scripts that you're writing at this stage, how are you using AI at all? Have you experimented with ChatGPT at all?
No, Richard, I'm perfectly capable of writing substandard text. At the moment, I can't see any actual use for ChatGPT or systems like that for the work that I do, because I can make the same mistakes and the same, logical or factual fallacies and the horrible style as ChatGPT offers at the moment. I've seen it used I also teach, so I've seen it used by students a couple of times, not very successful. Possibly, I haven't noticed in other cases that it has been used. So I think that, from my perspective, we talk about it a lot more than I've actually, had an opportunity to either experiment with it or have conversations with colleagues who write about how they use it. I know that journalists do, but I don't actually have any experience there.
Okay. And then Jarmo, at YLE, I know you were talking earlier in the green room, you had a project, I think it was 2016, that sort of initially used AI, but then it took sort of 3 or 4 years to actually get it anywhere. But so you've been messing around with, or playing with it, not messing around, sorry, experimenting with this technology for quite a while.
Yeah, it started like already in 2016 in beginning of the year, like study how to use AI. It's a project with the Tampere University, and the idea was to create a script for the radio play, and then also use AI generated voice generator to be an actors, and it took like 3.5 years to complete the 15-minute program, and the story was a little bit messy comparing what the ChatGPT now offers, like a suggestion how to build the story. But I think like for the public broadcaster, of course we are using AI programs in the different kind of surveys, how the audience is reacting for and what they are using the content. But like in the creative process, we are still working with the talents, of course, like kind of when we are ordering the drama series and receiving 100 proposals in 2 months. The industry in Finland is quite small, so we know the talents, but of course we don't know which programs or kind of have they read the book or have they kind of used AI for research.
And it seems, I mean, AI seems to have in some, especially in creative circles, it has a bit of a bad name. You know, I think there's a fear around it, perhaps. Sami, talk to us a bit about that. I mean, in terms of the uses for your software and the way that you're using AI to explore patterns and trends in scripts, things like that, how can AI be used carefully, but to the benefit of all, to audiences ultimately as well?
Yeah, I mean, this fear aspect we can actually observe over this 4 or 5 years period. It's actually interesting to see how these reactions are changing over this period. Because once we designed our AI, at first we were aware of this fear, and we really designed it in a very passive way to make sure it's not telling an opinion, but just showing some patterns that can help decision makers to make their decisions more faster or more carefully. So, but that is changing. That's the thing we are observing as well, especially in the last 1-2 years. We started to see the people in entertainment industry, our clients, and asking us AI to be more active, which I see that there is like 2 segments. So before we had a segment that was fearing. Now we have 2 segments. There is a segment still fearing, and 1 segment who accept that actually AI will be an important part of these developments. So let's find it out, how we can use it, which is growing very rapidly. That was surprising for us, and we saw actually that we get demands from our clients to be AI more active. And in that manner, I think still wanting not to forget that's I mean, AI can generate many things at this moment, but it's still, like if you just specifically talk about like a script, still best scripts can be done with AI by best script writers, in my opinion. So it still requires a lot of work, and this a lot of work can be conducted correctly by the experts. Same thing for our tools as well. So it enables many things, but if you don't put the experts behind it, they are useless. AI is smart, but it's smarter and with the right hands behind. And just that, and those are not engineers, so that's often a confusion.
Yeah, good clarification. And Jarmo, at YLE, I mean, you guys, you're taking in scripts, looking at them, appraising them. Are you noticing sort of scripts that you're looking at and thinking, actually, is this AI created, or is this, is there confusion now in that regard?
I think not yet, because I think we start the process in the early stage, and of course I think in a couple of years, 2-3 years, we are using like help of the AI analyzing the script. We are doing like a manual thinking at the moment with the script consultants from Sweden who's like doing the report. And of course it takes time. But it would be interesting to compare what kind of report out of the AI and the personal experiment when reading the script and pointing out how do I feel, because I don't know what is the feeling element in the AI report.
And Anna, at BT, I mean, you guys aren't using it yet, but there's obviously an important sort of human element to the creative process that you can't get away from. But do you sort of could you see a time when AI can be used for certain scripted projects, or do you think are we going to see a sort of a stratification, perhaps?
Well, actually, at the moment we are not planning to implement it in our workflow, but I think it will come. I mean, we are just waiting for the program. And then we would, of course, love to compare our readers' reports to AI analysis. But I mean, talking about readers' reports, I mean, we have special readers for special programs. And then sometimes we are changing just to have another perspective, another opinion, because we know our readers. And then we are like a little bit playing with the perspectives. And that might be a challenge for AI, active or not, because the authentic approach and the authentic approach in getting reception, that might be a little bit difficult, because then you have to adapt it to a culture, you have to adapt it to gender, of course, you have to adapt it to any kind of. And then if of course you can make a program like this, but so far it's not there, I would say, but I haven't tried Sami's yet.
And Marjnan, I mean, in terms of the work that you're doing, you're coming up with creative scripts, all yourself.
Hopefully.
He does.
What's your concerns about AI? I mean, how do you think?
Well, Richard, thank you for the question. I come from a tradition of people who invented Skynet and HAL 9000. So, when the machine overlords take over, we are the first to go. We've been betraying the whole future of our robot overlords for a while now. Honestly, I don't know how to approach the issue. I haven't seen any useful implementation in our field so far. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying I haven't seen it. When I was first introduced many years ago to script writing software, nobody had to explain to me how this would change my everyday workflow or how it would influence the work that I do. I've looked at ChatGPT, I've scratched my head, I've tried, I still don't understand what I'm supposed to be getting out of that. So perhaps not the best choice for a panelist today. But, I think that for me, the way I see it influence our job, our industry, is this notion that, for better or for worse, it is going to change the way people, commissioning editors, gatekeepers, however you want to call them, the way people look at ideas. I wonder if at some point we'll be treating the development process as we just need someone to come up with a very good prompt. Don't worry about the rest of it. And that's the fear for me. I'm not saying this will happen, obviously. But this is what I think people may start believing that this is a beneficial future for us to head towards.
And I mean, we saw AI. If we look over to the States, the writers' strike, it was a big element in their discussion. It was also a big element of discussion for the actors' unions, and the deals that those guys struck and the unions struck with the studios were interesting. In terms of sort of, that you're trying to deal with a technology that is fairly nascent still, probably, but the implications go a lot further. I'm tempted to come back to you. I mean, well, Jarmo, maybe let's talk to you. You've had a project sort of 2016 that took a long, long time to gestate, and I don't know if you class it as a success ultimately, but how do you see the problems and the potential implications that we were discussing there in terms of your use of AI, and once you go down that route, if you start using it as a tool for commissioning, or to sort of direct commissioning, is there a way back from that? And is that something that you're concerned about at all?
I'm not so concerned about using AI. Of course, I think we will be much wiser in a few years and learn kind of what is the profit of using different tools. And I think like after green lighting, there's a lot of benefits you can gain from using AI tools, like for example, in the post-production. I think it will be faster. We were discussing last week about the storyboard or kind of how do we use the resources when we take out of the scenes which we think that we need to use most resources. So we are already using like Unreal platform and game engines to kind of make kind of animated version out of the most important scenes. So there will be a lot of different solutions in very, very soon how to use like in a wise way AI tools.
And I mean, Sami, in terms of your software, is there, when you're providing sort of, you're spotting these patterns and guiding decision making in some ways, how much of a human element do you think there should be applied to your, when you're using your software? Is it sort of, then these are the results, and then the human has to sort of take those results and process them as they see fit, or?
Yeah. In our process, it's like 100% human element, actually, which is sometimes annoying. Because that's also the thing. I think that AI expectations are sometimes too much. Then it becomes black and white. It works or it doesn't work. Because sometimes the expectation you just plus the enter, it does everything for you, is definitely not there. So it requires a lot of work, and specifically for our tools, it requires quite a bit of work of human elements. That's why I thought if there's no expertise, that will be useless. But the thing here, the main advantage once we generate all these patterns, the first thing that you get is time. There are the certain type of the things that we are doing with AI that will take weeks normally in the process. And what this helps, especially for producers, to evaluate much more content, to find really the good ones. Eventually they still decide, but they can see the patterns, specific patterns much faster, and it helps them to make the decisions faster. Or, for example, like studios, they do focus groups at earlier stages, and they invest quite a bit of money, time in that, which is not done much in European film industry or by independent producers. So now with AI, we can do that in our tools as well, that you just, within 1 hour, you see what is the expected audience reactions, all these things close to like focus group accuracy. That's a great advantage. That's why we often tell, particularly European content industry should be actually happier about these AI enhancements, AI evolution, because I mean, Hollywood has a big advantage of budget, right? It's not easy to produce same level of content here in Europe, but AI tools are making many things cheaper. That will make many big productions much affordable in coming years, and I think it will bring a big advantage for European content industry.
Anna, did you want to say something there?
Well, no, yes, of course, it's all clear, but now when you were talking, my mind was a little bit shifting, because actually what we're going to lose is much more on the irrational side. When we're talking about AI, about recreation, constantly recreation, actively, non-actively, but then you're losing the irrational moments. You're losing, because when we are, I told you in the prep talk that we are doing dubbings,
yep,
and we are doing subtitles with AI. I'm very happy for that, because my Croatian is bad, and I don't speak all English or what, and we are international, so and I like it when the avid AI is implementing and it pops out that something you understand, so at least you can like sync face and what's meant. And of course, then you understand what is not said, because of course I see what they are saying, but a scene is not about a scene what's about. So the people, when somebody says, okay, I love you, and you see on the face, that's not true. Then it's getting interesting. I mean, that is where content is getting interesting. And we are going to lose all these tunes in between. We are going to lose some of these things that are human, that are authentic. And I think that talking about limited series, high-end series, complex series, like, and if something is a little bit more subtle, then it's getting really difficult for an AI.
And Jarmo, I wanted to say, I mean, in terms of YLE, you know, if you're, as a commissioner, if you've got a piece of software that's very accurate in predicting what will be popular with an audience, does that mean that you then end up commissioning a lot of that type of content, and you know, and by necessity, you obviously then ignore quite a lot of other content, perhaps that may also be very popular? There's that element of, as Anna was sort of, you know, positing there. There's an element of human creativity that's sort of been lost along the way. Surprised, I guess, the element of surprise to some extent.
The short answer is no.
Good.
Yeah, I think like it's a privilege to work in the public broadcasters because we have a different kind of a strategy. We don't every time need to entertain people with kind of easygoing series or drama or features, and we need to kind of think about even the strategy of the company that the public broadcaster need to, for example, strengthen the democracy in Finland. So it means like we need to find subjects which people really don't know that they need to watch, like the stories which are made by kind of writers' instinct that this is very important topic and this need to be told. And I think like if there's writers in the room other than you, they know that when you write something, you're using your own emotions and experience and try to do kind of a story which has a huge impact for the audience. So I'm happy to say no, we don't need to commission by kind of recommendations that this would be going for the wider audience, because we need to serve also very niche audience or kind of a large audience which really doesn't know that they need this story.
Okay. And I mean, we talked a lot about the script writing process, and I mean, the implications of AI and sort of how you manage that you know, this technology within that sector at least that's a big question. In terms of sort of broadening it out to production, sort of physical production, and as you were saying there, Jarmo, you know, when it's coming to post, things like that, are we broadly in agreement that this is a good thing, essentially? I mean, Anna, you know, in terms of, you know, things like dubbing is a really good example, but also some of the the post-production processes that, let's be honest, nobody really wants to do. AI can do some of those for us.
Absolutely.
Is that where you see it sort of really coming into its own?
Absolutely. I mean, this is all the post-pro or admin side, all the things that need to be done, like time-consuming. Of course, AI can help there. And I would even say on the production side, if it comes to lighting or something, you have a studio production, and then it's all computer-generated. You just do your program, and then it adjusts. It's like you don't have, I mean, you can do a lot of more, you can shoot easily 8 minutes per day. But this is not applying, again, it's not applying for these big productions. It's more for the daily bread and butter productions, not dailies, but all these shows you have for television. Like, I mean, of course, AI can help there to just help bring content to the world that it's entertaining. It's not like high concept, it's not so demanding. But if it comes to a certain kind of quality, then I would stick to the
Yeah, fair enough. And Jarmo, I mean, for YLE, you do lots of co-productions, for example, a relatively smaller country and smaller commissioning budgets. Does it mean suddenly you're opened up, there's a whole world of potential there where if you can get post-production costs down, you can, do lots with visual effects that perhaps weren't accessible before. Is this opening up smaller producers and smaller budgets to huge opportunities?
Yeah, I think like it's like a field where you can kind of be more effective and find like partners you normally even think that you can do the co-production with, and I think it's everybody knows that at the moment, like if you do the co-production, we need to travel behind after the incentives or tax rebate, and I think AI and in the post-production, even if you could use like LED panel studios creating historical London or something in Estonia, so it's much more easier for Finland or in Germany that the traveling becomes kind of less and less important in a production.
And Marjnan, I mean, in terms of when you're coming up with your scripts and your ideas, are you tempted to start looking, thinking potentially AI could, there might be elements of it that were previously closed off because of budget restraints, but AI might open up these avenues a little bit? I'm trying to find a positive for AI.
Listen, I do believe there is a lot of positive things to implementing AI in our industry. I'm not convinced that there's a lot of that obvious right now, and especially not in the part of the process that I deal with, which is coming up with an idea, then convincing a human being. I mean, like I would really, if I was, I don't know, younger, I guess, I'm too old now, I would really love an industry where there's the system, there's there's an algorithm, and you can break through, you can, screw pitching to him. If I convince the computer, I get the job. It feels like leveling the playing field, right? But I don't think that's where the thing is headed, right? Because you ultimately have people overseeing. It's not like the machine will give you a green light. It'll give a recommendation, and then who knows what happens afterwards. So, for me, I think the key question there is whether people who find benefits of using AI right now in our industry decide to, I don't know, make their lives a little bit easier and create a different kind of system which is only going to become more difficult for creatives. Because right now, we hear about the market, the factually non-existing market, We hear about the ideal audience. This one lady in Slavonia, in Hrvatska here, who is sort of the model of who is watching this. What I fear is that these meetings with executives will also now include, and as well, the AI told us this. So it's, a bunch of guesswork now with another new element. That's my sort of the nightmare. The dream scenario is obviously ways in which you can adapt and change the storytelling process to really involve a bigger audience. Like for me, ideally, it would be if I wanted to set a scene or a sequence in, I don't know what to say now without insulting somebody in the world. In Finland, okay? Never been to Finland. I only have a vague idea what it is, and then AI helps me make an authentic sort of sequence, right? I can't imagine how this actually would work, but that would be a useful tool for if you can make this. Because then if I want to go to the Finnish market, I already have something that looks like it's been, very authentic. But I don't, like that's childish. Yeah. I don't think sort of the industry should make such things. I don't think that's the job of us as storytellers. So that's, this is what I'm trying to say is there can be so many useful things that AI can do for all of us. But I think most of those things are still in the realm of, high-level mathematics, new materials, stuff like that. Encryption and our privacy maybe as well. Storytelling for now still fairly safe. I mean, it could be that even next year I look like a fool. Even so maybe things change, but right now I don't think. It's an interesting subject to discuss. I love reading about it. I like making jokes about it, but because it still can't.
Yeah.
I can still write a better joke than any AI. It's for the time being.
Fair enough. And Sami, I think we've only got about 4 or 5 minutes left, so we're going to try and wrap this up. But in terms of the way that AI is going, the direction of travel, it certainly, there are multiple uses for AI across for our industry at least, and for every other industry. How do you see it sort of growing within TV and production sector? And also let's perhaps discuss some of the limitations, the regulations, the guardrails that need to be put around it, because you've got first-hand knowledge of just how powerful this stuff can be if it's used in certain ways. How would you?
Yeah, I think it's exponential, so that's why there were strikes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was quite a bit about AI as well, because think about ChatGPT. Before ChatGPT, there was GPT already, like over 3 years. There was GPT, GPT-2, GPT-3, GPT 3.5, I think was ChatGPT. So all discussions started over there, because that was the moment people saw, wow, that's something coming that might really change the things very rapidly, that many people were convinced to that. That's why that everybody is now discussing about that. And that's just a start still. I mean, we will have many things are coming, like Google recently announced Gemini, Amazon are releasing new tools. XCOM is releasing, so there's many other competing LLMs as well. So, and I think the regulations will be very important over there, because then that you see that these all AI tools can be very biased easily, but at the same time it's very easy to remove the biases from the AI tools. Just to give one example to finish my part, so we removed ethnicity information from our data for AI to learn about the actors, which made our AI ethnicity blind, and once it was making actor propositions, it was much more diverse than what was happening in the industry. You can also use it by using the data correct way. You can also use it in many good causes.
And yeah, go on, Anna.
No, I'm a bit afraid when I hear you. Of course, I see many commissioners talking of streamers. And I know a lot of commissioners who are really relying on AI's decisions. And that will make it a little bit more hard for all of us in the future, like for the storytellers and for the commissioners, because then you are really competing. You're trying to convince a human being who has been convinced by an AI. And then, who is not, or the streamers, they are using AI for analysis, they are using AI for pre-analysis and scripts.
Sort of like that by Netflix, by the way, for many years. They already
yes, of course.
Analysis, yeah.
But I mean, talking to Netflix commissioners, then they run your script through an AI. And what happens afterwards, that would be the question. I mean, for now, they are talking. For now, we are in talks with the commissioners. That might change. And then we are
in an interesting position. I mean, Jarmo, you're a commissioner. Does this conversation sort of seem? Yeah. How do you see it developing? In terms of, the ethnicity question. That's quite an interesting example. Is it? Could that potentially be a positive for AI through the commissioning process? Or do you think we can implement that ourselves as humans?
Well, at least what I'm interested in is I like to kind of protect the connection and the face like the writer, because the best kind of development process is when you are arguing with the talent and the one is defending the thinking and the emotions. The one has been going through the creative process. So at least that's the one thing I like to save and protect with AI or without.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is a luxury for public broadcaster to have, for the streamers who have a clear end, to have a red line, they have financial needs they have to meet, and then the decisions are made by people with a clear vision on this financial side. So this is also, then we should have a streamer here also to discuss
It
this.
would be interesting, yeah, it would be. We are out of time, but I'm going to quickly run through, I just want to do some crystal ball gazing and appreciate this is, we're all guessing here to some extent, but let's say 3 years' time, Sami, I'm going to start with yourself because you've probably got the deepest insight on this. How much will AI be used in the creative process?
I think it will be a co-developer for sure. That's what I see. I think people still be in the center with also the regulations, everything, but it will be really a strong co-development tool for all processes, starting from development until distribution stages, in my opinion.
Good stuff. Anna?
I hope to be here in 3 years, and then I will tell you. I hope that I have, that we have had the chance to have proven AI, and then we can. I would like to compare an AI script analyzing or writing program to script writers. Really, not yet, but look forward.
The video recommendations in the YouTube feed get better in 3 years. The videos stay equally dubious, and people still make stories in 3 years.
Good stuff. And Jarmo, round us out.
Yeah, I like to believe a Finnish professor who has been working with the data for 35 years and now 10 years with AI, and he's like have an opinion that AI is creating more work. It's not kind of so you don't replace anybody with AI, but it might be some new professors we are facing.
Good stuff, excellent. Yeah, round of applause for that. We are fully out of time, so let's put our hands together. Sami and Yaman and Jarmo, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.